Hello, my name is Catherine Rose, and my presentation focuses on a strategic logistics decision faced by Dollar Tree, whether to expand the existing Briar Creek Distribution Center or to build a brand new facility in Hartford, Connecticut. This analysis is rooted in detailed cost modeling, including both fixed and variable facility costs, as well as outbound transportation costs. I'll examine how each option performs under real-world operating conditions using 2005 to 2007 projections. I'll also go in a step further by running a sensitivity analysis to test how external factors, such as store growth, fixed cost fluctuations, and the number of cartons processed, could impact total costs and the viability of each option. My goal is to recommend the logistics strategy that best positions Dollar Tree for scalable, long-term success. To begin, I reviewed each major cost category in Dollar Tree's logistics network and how these costs respond as the number of distribution centers changes. First, inbound costs make up the largest share at 37%. These are the costs to move goods from the vendor to the distribution centers, including long-haul freight and fuel. As Dollar Tree increases the number of distribution centers, these inbound costs may rise, because shipments are now split across more locations and may potentially be routed to distribution centers further from key vendors. There's also less opportunity to consolidate loads, which only increases transportation frequency and costs. Distribution center cost represents the second largest share at 28%. These include facility, rent, maintenance, labor, depreciation, and utilities. With an expansion or a new distribution center, these costs will only increase, but per unit costs can drop if utilization is high. A prime example of needing scale and throughput to keep fixed costs under control. Outbound transportation costs account for 25% of the logistics budget. These are the costs of moving products from the distribution centers to the retail stores. Now here's where adding more distribution centers can create a cost-saving opportunity. Dollar Tree can reduce average delivery distances, improve truck routing, and increase the number of stores served per trip. So, more distribution centers may raise some costs, but help lower outbound trucking expenses, especially in high-density areas. Finally, inventory carrying costs, which are smaller at 10%, but they still matter. These include storage costs, insurance, capital inventory, and the risk of obsolescence. Spreading inventory across more distribution centers increases the need for safety stock at each location, which raises these costs. But good inventory management, tools, and forecasting can help mitigate that risk. Overall, balance is key to choosing the right logistics strategy for scale and cost optimization. As I mentioned, Dollar Tree needs to prepare a strategic logistics plan that creates scale and optimizes utilization at the distribution centers. So logistics leaders look at economies of scale. Increasing distribution centers can offer lower per unit costs by spreading out fixed expenses over a larger volume of cartons. For Dollar Tree, this is maximized by the efficiency of automation, which is in all but 2 of their distribution centers. A larger volume also enables more efficient processes, such as a full truckload, which reduces manual handling and time per unit. But when efficiency is lost, which could happen if inventory is spread across too many distribution centers, and fixed costs remain, but volume drops, there will be higher per carton costs. This leads me to utilization, which is a percentage of the distribution center capability actually being used. The distribution center at the focus of this analysis has a current utilization of 92%. Dollar Tree logisticians start looking at new capacity operations when distribution centers reach 75%, so this decision is well overdue. With low utilization, there's underused labor, space, and capital equipment, thus inflating the cost per unit handled and creating a poor return on capital investment. That's why utilization is a key performance metric, not just operationally, but financially. For Dollar Tree, maintaining high utilization is essential to achieving its low-cost distribution strategy while maintaining manageable operational efficiency. In addition to optimizing distribution center capacity and transportation, Dollar Tree has a range of operation strategy opportunities it can pursue to further reduce supply chain costs and improve efficiency. One major opportunity is the application of Lean and Six Sigma principles. Lean tools focus on eliminating non-value-added activities, like reducing wait times in the pick process or trimming out excess inventory. This is a tool I use in the Air Force. We have an automated system that identifies excess quantities and generates shipments to other locations that are short, or send the assets back to the depots, which is similar to a distribution center. Six Sigma helps improve process quality and consistency, which aims to reduce errors that lead to costly rework or returns. Altogether, these strategies can complement facility and transportation decisions to make the network more agile, resilient, and cost-efficient, which is evident in Dollar Tree's annual growth rate of 15% over the last 4 years. So now moving on to the actual decision required. Should Dollar Tree expand the Briar Creek Distribution Center or build a new distribution center in Hartford, Connecticut? From my review of the case study, my initial hypothesis is that a new facility would be the best option. I expect that this new location will cut down on the transportation costs for some of the surrounding facilities, despite having a high initial investment. This is supported by the network map of Dollar Tree distribution centers, as there are a significant amount of stores in the Northeast, with only one centrally located distribution center. A new facility will offer a more proportionate distribution of resources. To make my recommendation, first I looked at two of the operating costs for each option, facility and transportation costs. While these costs only account for 53% of total operating costs, this analysis will still provide significant insight into determining Dollar Tree's best option. The process I used to calculate projected facility costs for the expanded Briar Creek Distribution Center required for accounting how the expansion affects cost. I started by calculating a size ratio. To adjust the facility fixed cost for size differences, I'm essentially scaling costs proportionally based on square footage, assuming a linear relationship between facility size and costs. At 1 million square feet, the new facility is 1.663 times larger than the current 603,000 square footage. This ratio will scale both the fixed and variable unit costs. Applying this multiplier to Briar Creek's original cost structure, fixed cost per carton increases from 20 cents to 33 cents, and variable costs increase from 19 cents to 31 cents. Then, using the projected volume from the provided Exhibit 11, I multiplied the unit cost rates by the annual volume to calculate total fixed and variable facility costs for each year. Adding both components to arrive at the total annual facility cost, I got over $53 million in facility costs for expanding Briar Creek over the next 3 years. Then, to calculate the fixed cost of the new distribution center, I used a similar size facility in Savannah, Georgia. This distribution center also produces the same amount of cartons as the projected Hartford facility, making it a good comparison tool. The total annual facility costs for a new distribution center totaled about $16 million over 3 years. But combined with the old Briar Creek facility, it would only cost Dollar Tree $40 million over 3 years. Comparing this expansion cost against the cost of building a new distribution center, I can clearly observe how size and utilization directly influence unit costs and capital efficiency, and determine that a cost savings of $13 million leans towards the best option being option 2, to build a new facility. Next, I looked at the outbound transportation costs for both options. First, calculating the total miles per delivery trip, which includes the distance from the distribution center to the first store, the distance between stores, and the return trip. The formula was distance to the first store plus the distance from the last store back to the distribution center, plus the average distance between stores times n minus 1, with n being the average number of stores served per trip. Then I multiplied the number of stores served times the average delivery per store per year, and then divided it by the average stores per trip to get the total number of trips per year. I took the total miles per trip from step 1 and multiplied it by the total number of trips from step 2. That gave me the annual miles driven for each distribution center. I used the case provided cost per trailer mile of 1.66 for Briar Creek, a comparable value for Hartford. Multiplying total annual miles times cost per mile provided the total outbound transportation costs for each year and each option. I observed that Hartford had reduced average distance to store, especially in the Northeast, which resulted in a lower mileage per delivery, supporting my initial hypothesis. When volume and store count increase, transportation savings compound due to reduced distance per trip and better geographic alignment. Ultimately, this analysis shows that transportation costs are highly sensitive to location and become a major factor when making long-term infrastructure decisions. To validate my conclusion, I ran a sensitivity analysis. For the number of stores servicing any more stores than 450, the best option is option 1, expanding Briar Creek. However, if stores serviced by the distribution center remained under 450, the best option is option 2, building a new facility in Hartford. The Briar Creek expansion expects to serve over 530 stores in 2005, but if Dollar Tree splits the number of stores serviced between the old Briar Creek facility and the new distribution center in Hartford, option 2 is the best option. With rapid expansion, option 2 scales better due to having 2 geographically distributed distribution centers, keeping routes shorter and more efficient. I also checked to see what would happen if fixed costs increase. If fixed costs remain under 40 cents per carton, the new facility in Hartford is the best option, but above 40 cents, option 1 is the best. Finally, I determined that if the distribution center processes under 21 million cartons per year, then the Hartford facility is the best option. Since Hartford expects to process between 10 and 15 million cartons from 2005 to 2007, this justifies the recommendation to Dollar Tree to build a new distribution center in Hartford. All these considered, Dollar Tree must execute operations strategically through proper distribution center utilization and scaling capacity. After analyzing both options, expanding the existing Briar Creek Distribution Center versus building a new distribution center in Hartford, my recommendation is to build a new distribution center in Hartford. My justification is based on both quantitative and qualitative factors. While expanding Briar Creek may be cheaper in terms of fixed facility costs due to existing infrastructure, my analysis shows that both facility and outbound transportation costs are significantly higher. The Hartford option reduces average store delivery distance, especially for the northeast region, which lowers per mile trucking costs and improves delivery efficiency. Calculating the total cost per carton, including both fixed distribution center costs and outbound transportation, Hartford becomes more competitive, especially by 2007 when volume increases. Further, adding a second facility provides network resilience, which is reducing dependency on a single site and offering flexibility during disruptions. It also improves service levels by shortening delivery times to nearby stores. Strategically, a dual distribution center model supports Dollar Tree's continued expansion in the Northeast, a key growth market. In conclusion, the Hartford Distribution Center delivers a stronger long-term value, both operational and financially, especially under high growth assumptions. Thank you.